Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Santiago Quinio, and I'm proud to present to you CAVA, or Community Assistant Virtual Assistant, for CSE 335 Mobile App Development. So CAVA stands for Community Assistant Virtual Assistant. For some context, a community assistant is a student who takes care of other students within a residential hall of a college campus. Their job is split into two different parts. First, they have to check on the well-being of their residents within their assigned hall. Their goal is to make sure that their mental health and emotional health is in good condition. This is done through interacting with the residents of the hall. The next part of the job is to host different events for their community. These events include social events, which aim to connect people within their community with each other, academic-based events, which aims to improve the residents' ability to perform well in class, and health-based events, which aim to educate residents on how to maintain their physical, mental, and emotional well-being throughout their semester. CAVA aims to help community assistants stay organized through keeping track of both residents and different locations for events, along with what the events would be best suited for. If a community assistant clicks on the resident list, then they will be able to add and view different residents of their hall. If a community assistant clicks on the location list, then they will be able to add and view different locations they could use for the events, along with the details of what that location is best suited for. A map is also included when they click on the location. As seen within this class diagram, there are two different object types within this program. One is resident and the other is location, each dealing with different lists in which the community assistant will access. At the center of this class diagram is the view controller, which keeps track of all data types and when to put them on the screen for the community assistant to view. On the bottom portion of the screen, you will see location list and resident list. We'll talk about resident lists in order to simplify things. The resident list is an array that stores resident data types. Within the resident data type, we will see that it will hold information regarding the resident's first name, last name, image, room number, and well-being. This is accessed within the resident detail view controller. At the other side of the class diagram, you'll see the location list. Again, this is an array which hold location object types. Within location, the following data is stored, which is address, event type, and location name. This is accessed within the location detail view controller. Unlike the resident detail view controller though, the location detail view controller also has a map in which it will use the address string and geocoding in order to display the GPS location of that place. Over here we have the model view controller diagram, with each aspect controlling a different portion of the overall program. The controller will fetch resident and location data for the user once the load button has been pressed. It will also send new residents and new locations to core data for storage whenever a user saves a new resident or location. It'll update the view with new data when the user presses load, and it will handle user taps and interactions. The view will also react to user taps and interactions and display the data entry forms whenever a user clicks on load. This includes maps and all the string types for both residents and location lists. The model handles the core data storage for residents and locations. It will also notify the controller of any data changes throughout the program's use. CAVA's goal was to simplify a community assistant's position by allowing them to store data regarding their residents and different locations of their potential events. CAVA makes it easy for community assistants to add residents and locations. It makes it easy for them to navigate through that list through core data, and it allows them to see the potential locations on a GPS through a map display. Even though it has all these features, CAVA has a few limitations. First, CAVA is best used for small floors, floors with 10 residents or less due to the navigation type of the app. There is no table view for this app, so that makes things difficult for the community assistant to navigate through a list of residents, especially when they have, let's say, 30 something residents. There's also no sorting algorithm based on the attributes of the resident or program type, event type. This makes things a little bit more difficult if a community assistant only wants to, let's say, pull up a list of residents which they are concerned about, like their well-being rating is a 3 or below. Or it makes it difficult for them to see only locations which are great for social events. Unfortunately, CAVA also does not have an update method for their resident and location list. This makes it so this makes it difficult for community assistants to tweak resident information based on what they learn later in the semester. There's also no delete method within CAVA, making it difficult to really change the list if a mistake was made. Many lessons were learned throughout the development of CAVA. This includes how to handle core data when there are two different object types. Within this program of CAVA, those types are resident and location. I also learned how to save images into core data since it's a different variable type and as binary. I also learned how to implement a map with core data and how to pull the location of an address within the map through geocoding when that address is within core data. At the bottom portion of the screen, you will see two screenshots of CAVA. On the left-hand side, you will see the resident view when a community assistant clicks on resident list from the main menu. Top portion of that screenshot will show how to add a new resident onto core data. The community assistant must add their first name, last name, well-being, room number, and photo. I used a scenery shot for an example of that photo. At the bottom portion of that screenshot, you'll see that a community assistant could load the resident from their list. It will display their first name, last name, well-being, image, and room number. Now it's a little bit cut off, but there are also previous and next buttons so that the community assistant could navigate throughout their list of residents. The right screenshot displays what the community assistant will see once he or she clicks on the location list. Top portion of that screenshot is to input a new location. This includes the location name, address, and event type. Once it is saved, they could load it at the bottom portion of the screen, which will display the name, address, event type, but it will also display a map on where that event will take place. Overall, this is what the user will see when they use CAVA.